So you mentioned Stoicism, and it's the parallels to that in Buddhism. You said something in one of your interviews how Stoicism might not be conducive, or it might reduce the evolutionary fitness of an individual.
And of the group. So I think that it's good for the individual to have a better life, right? If you are a Stoic, you are better adapted to the circumstances that you find yourself to be in, because you make it the direction of your life to worry about the things that you can change, but not have emotions about the things that you cannot change. And in this way, most cats, for instance, are Stoics. But also most cats are not very active, right? They're fine lying around 10 to 16 hours a day and not do anything. And the human being is the animal that is discontent. We're always meddling, we're always getting up and doing things. And that's because we are largely not Stoics. And I suspect that societies of Stoics might be happier societies, but of course less productive societies, because there is less reason to meddle and do things.
Okay, so you're saying that Stoics don't wake up in the morning and be satisfied with their surroundings, because subjectively I agree with you, but you're saying in a group situation, Stoics don't get up and are unsatisfied.
I suspect that a lot of our productivity is not unleashed just by the need to feed our kids, but also by the need to escape suffering.
Okay.
So by imposing suffering, you can often make people more productive.
Okay, so it's a way of thinking. So yeah,
it's a way to organize societies.
If you're a Stoic, you're not suffering from another ideology like Christianity.
Yes, so Christianity, in some sense, imposes suffering on individuals. But the suffering from the perspective of Christianity is justified, because the suffering is an expression of your acknowledgement of your own sins. And your sin is the deviation from between what you do and what you should be doing, based on what you can recognize you should be doing, because God demands it. And God is your best understanding of what the next level agent demands of you.
I think the reason I missed your point there was because I thought the suffering that human beings faced was sort of something that was in us. It wasn't taught to us, it was in us. But you're saying that this is an ideology that we all bought into. The suffering is self-made. And if we just believe something else, then the suffering goes away. So if we go,
it's very hard to escape the programming, right? It seems to be that people have are born with differences in how much they suffer, and how likely they are to adopt certain ideas on how they should live and how they should interact with each other. So I suspect that in the same way as we have behavioral differences in animals, right? If you try to take in a cat, and the cat is much closer to the feral archetype of the cat, to a wild cat, and it's going to be harder to socialize it, right? And there are other cats which are extremely docile, and so I suspect that these social differences that you have in animals, and they're not all learned, and but of course you can override them. You can often train them, and in the same way people train themselves and choose to be trained by others. I think the decision to submit to somebody else is often a decision that the mind has to make autonomously, right? Whether you take in ideas from others, whether you're influenced by others, depends on how you are set up to begin with. And I suspect that we are largely a domesticated species. So we are not, very few of us are feral, very few of us are sovereigns. We are a programmable species. And we have basically bred ourselves for being programmable over thousands of years. And this has made us so successful, because we were able to impose social software on each other that allows us to act in a synchronized fashion.
Amazing.